Hello, my name is Hannah, and welcome to another reading vlog. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to read the BookTok sensation Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. So, I'm actually not really on the book side of TikTok, so I actually found out about this from a friend, but after watching the video she sent me of it, obviously everything that would come up on my TikTok was about this book. And a few weeks back, I had a different friend mention that she was really looking to find a good smut book. And I was like, hey, have you ever heard of Ice Planet Barbarians? It's like become viral at this point. And she actually hadn't, so she picked it up, and there's 22 books in the series, and I think she's gone through 14 of them. So obviously I have to see for myself what all the hype here is. So obviously this is going to be the ebook version, and it actually has the book description right before like the first chapter, so I'm just going to read that because I haven't really looked at it before. Alright, it says, "You'd think being abducted by aliens would be the worst thing that could happen to me, and you'd be wrong, because now the aliens are having ship trouble, and they've left their cargo of human women, including me, on an ice planet. And the only native inhabitant I've met, he's big, horned, blue, and really, really has a thing for me." So this sounds terrible, obviously. And it's like, you know, going into it, it's going to be a trashy book, but it has to be like your thing, or else you're not gonna pick it up. Like, I don't think you could go into this like on accident and be surprised by what it turns out to be. I see the copyright on this is 2015, so I'm going to assume that's when it first came out. But damn, so from 2015 to 2020, this author has written 22 books in this universe. That's impressive and scary, and just, I'm impressed, I guess. This vlog is only going to be covering the first book, and I'm kind of reading it as like a Valentine's Day book kind of thing. I mean, it's the love is in the air month kind of crap. So this is pretty much the one month where I try to read stuff that's more on like the romance or I guess spicy side. And since this is a shorter book, I'm probably going to update a lot more often than I usually would, or at least I'm gonna try to. I honestly just hope this isn't something I'm going to end up DNFing, but I don't know, just please don't be overhyped. And with that, let's get into it, I guess. So this is probably the point of view that most of this is going to be filmed of, because I mainly read in bed. But I literally just read the first sentence of this book, and I already can't take it seriously because the main character's name is Georgie, and all I can think of is, "Want a balloon, Georgie?" So I don't know how many pages I am into this thing. Not a lot. There aren't like chapters or anything really, at least not yet. This seems more like a horror book so far, which I wasn't expecting, but there actually is an author's note at the beginning talking about this. She says that this is like the darkest part of her whole series. It starts dark and then just changes from there, I guess. And she does give some content warnings, but I'm gonna give a content warning right now. There is rape in the beginning. It's not like graphic or anything. It's pretty much just like, hey, this just happened kind of thing. But it's pretty unexpected for knowing what the book is supposed to be. But I guess that's kind of more of the dark aspect that the author was talking about, as it's like a group of women being treated like cattle essentially in the beginning. But they're like trying to formulate a plan to escape and stuff, but they always have like this threats looming over their heads, and so it's just like, damn, this is definitely more like horror-esque than I was expecting.
We have this baby boy crying for dinner. It's not time yet, though. It's not time yet, Ori. Yeah. He's purring. Oh my goodness. It's not time yet.
Mwah. All right. So, according to... Oh god, he's gone. According to my tablet, I am 20% through this, and pretty much this has really just been straight up a survival story so far. I just hit to, I guess, a new chapter, you'd call it, and it's called Vectel, so that's whose point of view we're going to be following now. I did not know this was a multi-POV book, so I'm actually kind of surprised by that. I'm not sure how much it's going to switch or anything like that, or if this is kind of a case of, well, we have to follow another character because the other one is unconscious kind of thing, but we'll see. So far, like, I mean, to be expected, the writing isn't anything special. It's all stuff we've seen before, nothing new really. There's a bunch of Star Wars references as well, which I think is kind of funny. Yeah, so far it's a completely different genre than as advertised. So we're actually 2 days later from when I first started reading this, and that's kind of because I really have not been feeling well lately, so my motivation to read has been quite low. Also, yesterday, this new MMO, Lost Ark, just came out. Some of you might be aware of that. And my husband really wanted me to play with him, so instead of reading at night in bed like I usually do, we played that instead. So I did read some more, though, while I was waiting for the queue to get into the game. So I'm just over 50% through, I believe it is. And so far, this has been quite different than what I expected from all the hype and everyone just freaking out about it. I honestly kind of thought it was just going to be like spicy scene after spicy scene. But it's actually not the case. They actually don't go all the way until about 50% through, and up until then, there's just a pretty good buildup of like sexual tension and stuff, so it doesn't just feel like, oh, they're just doing it just because or whatever. Like, the author actually gives like a reason behind it instead of just pointless smut. So there's actually a lot more substance to this than I thought there'd be going in. And it's also so far been a lot more of a survival story, like people are dying kind of thing. And so it's just kind of like, oh, okay. So this is more multi-genred, I'd say, than just being like, hey, here's some smut, enjoy. So I guess I'm digging that so far. When it comes to the writing, it is nothing new. I wouldn't even really say it has a distinct style. It is more on the humorous side, but it definitely feels like fanfic kind of thing. I do think that the main character's reactions have been more realistic, I guess, than you kind of see in a lot of books, because usually it's like, oh, this is a very strong character and they're gonna overcome their fear and emotions and everything. And it's like, no, if you were in this situation, you would be terrified and not be understanding anything that's happening. And that's kind of how our main character is. But I really love the humor in this, and my friend who has read more of the book says that there's some other characters that are even funnier. So, I mean, obviously if you're looking for smut, people would say to pick this up. But if you're looking for smut that has a bit more depth to it, more plot, and is just more on the humorous side, then I think this is definitely why it's gotten so popular. I am kind of curious how it's going to end, though, because it is a short book, and I'm already over 50% through, and so it's just kind of like, oh, like, where's it going to go from here, and how is it actually going to end? I also have no idea if I'll read the other ones, so I guess we'll just kind of see how this one keeps progressing. Also, I almost forgot to add, the way that the alien guy is described completely brings to mind Draenei from World of Warcraft, like just their build, how they're very like broad and muscular and everything. But I think they would have more of the features of tieflings from D&D, where they have like the bigger, more like decorative looking horns and the thinner tails. But yeah, I can definitely see some places where the author might have gotten some inspiration for these aliens. So it is now Thursday, which I think is just the next day from before. Hopefully it is. But I was not able to read it all last night, and yeah. So this is ridiculous. This is like a 159-page book or something like that. My tablet says I only have an hour left, And like, I think I started it 3 days ago or something like that. Like, this is dumb. It should not be taking me this long to read this. So I am determined to finish this tonight. I've already read a little bit more. I actually am digging the plot of this so much more than I thought it would be. Like, I might actually continue the series to find out what happens to everyone. This is definitely a little bit of a turn of events I was not expecting, but I'm gonna keep going. It's the next day, but I actually did finish the book last night, finally. But it was just too late for me to really like film an update or anything like that. And it is freaking freezing in our apartment today. Like, we know that they were working on the heat Monday and Wednesday, and we weren't supposed to have it, but it didn't feel like we didn't have it. And now here comes Friday, and it is just freezing cold in here. So I don't know what is going on with our heat, but like, I have fingerless gloves I'm going to be putting on right when I'm done with this video because I am cold. So this book definitely didn't go how I was expecting at all. I thought this was just gonna be like a for the meme kind of book, and it actually really pleasantly surprised me. There's actually a plot here. Granted, the writing is basically fanfic level, which I mean, I think that's to be kind of be expected, especially since the book is like so freaking short. But I'm actually interested in where the plot is going. Like, I want to know who ends up with who. I want to know how these women end up surviving here. And I don't know, it's actually interesting to me. So this actually spans multiple genres, because obviously it's like sci-fi romance, and there's actually some horror elements. Like, there's a scene close to the end where it actually made me squirm, because it was just like, oh my god, I couldn't imagine like doing this. Like, it was literally just straight up horror for me. So it's kind of been interesting seeing all those different aspects of this story, because I know a lot of people are probably just going into this thinking like, oh, it's just gonna be like pure spice, and that is not the case at all. So I actually have decided to rate this 4 stars in the end, which just kind of blows me away. This is not the kind of book that I usually read. Like, the whole romance genre is something that I'm never really interested in, and this obviously takes it one step further. But I mean, if you're looking for a sexy read that actually has humor to it and an actual plot line that is actually interesting, then I would actually recommend trying this. There are 22 books in the series, and there's even like 2.5 and 3.5, and I don't know if that's counted in the original 22 or not. So, I mean, if you do like it, there's a lot more to read, but I mean, if you don't, it's cheap as an ebook. It is quick to read, obviously, but I know it took me several days, but I mean, I wasn't feeling good, so I'm gonna blame it on that. And I mean, it's February, it's Valentine's Day, like, why not give it a try? But like I said before, this is a survival story. Like, I thought that aspect of the story was gonna go by pretty quick, but that's actually pretty much what this whole first novel is about, is rescuing the women, trying to make sure they're safe, and since they're so close to death, it's a bit touch and go and stuff. So there is kind of that tension of like, is everyone gonna survive? Who's gonna die? Kind of thing. So I don't know, I'm just kind of fascinated at how many turns this book takes and how many like genres and different elements of genres it can kind of pack into such a short book. One thing though is the covers definitely don't do the series justice. Like, there's this cover which I think is just straight up horrible, and I was just kind of scrolling through the covers of the other books and the titles, and they just suck. Like, even the titles are just like, really, like, I would never ever pick this up on my own. But then I saw that there's this cover, and I think it's a lot more well done, and I really wonder if there's going to be more plans to kind of redo all of the covers in the series, because I think the only reason this one even exists is because of all of the hype surrounding it and all of the popularity it's been getting lately. But I definitely hope they do that with the rest of the books, because like, oh my god, the covers are just really off-putting to me. But thank you for going with me on this really weird adventure. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this vlog in the end. It was just this little silly idea I wanted to try. But thank you for hanging out with me. It is always appreciated. Happy Valentine's Day. And until next time, bonne journée and au revoir.